Woke Flossie versus Gemma, the rematch from probably the longest games we've ever had on this stream with the was that the Swords Dance Ferrothorn and the Curse Yawn
That was the Swords Dance Ferrothorn, yeah, and the Yawn Snorlax. Did it go to timer on that one? I do know that Gemma almost ran out of yawns.
Yeah, I don't think we went to timer. I think she went to timer on stream with the same team afterwards, on her own personal stream at Gems VGC, if anyone wants to follow. But I believe we're going to be seeing the team Gemma has named Excadrill is Cake.
You built this team, right?
I did. This is not one of the teams I'm most proud of, but it is very fun to use, I will say.
Yeah, this was when you were initially trying to figure out ways to counter Sun, right?
Yeah, this was the first thing I came to, and then I realized that Alcremie is bad in a lot of matchups other than Sun. So, we see in Woke Flossie's side, we see a Stoutland, a Tyranitar, a Togekiss,
Stoutland,
Cinderace, Incineroar, and Urshifu.
And then Gemma's got Alcremie, Excadrill, Gyarados, Amoonguss, Urshifu of her own, and Talonflame.
Yeah. I would like to say I very much hope that this is a Water-type Urshifu from Woke Flossie's side, because otherwise there are 3 Fighting Weak Pokemon and only 1 Fighting Resist. So I'm not so sure how that's going to with, like, potentially a Cobalion or whatnot, but I think it probably is Water Urshifu looking at the rest of this team.
Yeah, she already has 2 Dark types, so I don't think she's running triple Dark. Like, she has plenty of Dragapult answers, so it should be Water, I'm pretty sure. Gemma has the Dark type Urshifu, correct?
Yes, this is the Dark type Urshifu. It is very specifically to beat Trick Room because Dark type Urshifu with a Sash is still very strong and can survive with 1 attack. In practice, it is not as great as I thought it was, sadly.
Urshifu, some people have been figuring out how to make it work to like varying success. Sometimes it's very threatening, sometimes it's not a problem at all. It really just depends.
I know we saw a lot of success with the Dark type Urshifu in the European side of Players Cup, with a lot of players making it to both Day 2 and Day 3. I don't know about the final results with the Dark one. But on the North American side, we saw a lot more of the Water Urshifu have success, paired with Porygon Z, to make it all the way to the top undefeated, actually, and a couple of other players did very well with it.
All right, so Woke Flossie is sending out Incineroar and Togekiss, and Gemma is going straight for Excadrill and Alcremie. Which I think that Togekiss needs to get out of there.
So here's the thing. When we built this team, the biggest weakness to it was Excadrill plus Togekiss.
Really?
Because 50% of the time, they can just fake out and Airstream the Alcremie, and it just KOs.
Oh, that's interesting.
So I'd love to see what happens here, because if the Alcremie doesn't get KO'd, then it's a very good spot for Gemma. If the Alcremie does get KO'd this turn, it is looking very bleak for this Excadrill.
Okay, so is this going to be kind of a turn 1 deciding match?
Yeah, like the issue is there's so many things that like Togekiss plus Incineroar can do, that it could even be like a Protect Parting Shot, and then you're just in the back from there. So it just depends on what we see.
All right, well, so obviously Jim's just going for the Decorate Max Steel Strike. Seems like a solid move on her part if Alcremie manages to live to survive. Oh, no Follow Me, no Fake Out, nothing.
Well, this is the way you beat the Togekiss Excadrill.
Yep. Then there goes Togekiss, so I'm very curious as to what it was going for. I assume that Incineroar was going for a Parting Shot this turn.
Yeah, I would very much hope for Amy's sake that it is not a Flare Blitz. But yeah, we do see a Parting Shot, and it'll probably come back in this next turn as well, getting it back to -1.
Okay. So Incineroar comes back in. You reestablish Fake Out pressure. You're back to -1. But you need to bring something that can take out the Alcremie.
Which, on this team, is Cinderace.
Could very well be Cinderace.
So, and I would assume we probably see this Incineroar come back in, and something along the lines of, like, a fake out max steel spike and hope to survive this Excadrill at minus. At this point, it'll be at -1.
Yeah, Cinderace should survive a Max Quake at -1, regardless of its typing.
Especially if it gets the Steel Spike boost. So it would only do about half at that point.
Yeah.
So maybe Gemma going for something like a switch to the Intimidate from the Gyarados, which it looks like she might be doing here.
That seems like a really solid move.
Maybe like a Quake into either Cinderace or Incineroar is a good decision. Because at this point, you just want to do as much damage as you can. And like kind of preserve the late game for Sash or Shifu because it'll be able to take 2 hits.
Yeah, and it should be able to clean up pretty well with everything that's showing up on the board. Like if you can get Cinderace within Sucker Punch range, and Incineroar just kind of lives in Urshifu close combat range.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, it might not. I'm sorry. I'm used to the Choice Banded one.
Yeah, no. I mean, like, it can. What's it called? Urshifu can one-hit KO all of these in non-Dynamax form.
Okay.
So I mean, it'll have to take 1 attack at some point. So. I mean, that's what you'll have to deal with. But other than that, if you can kind of just preserve it to where it's in like a 1-on-1 or even a 2-on-1 where it outspeeds both, then you're in a really good position with the Urshifu.
Yeah. All right, so Cinderace does go for the Gigantamax, goes for the Super Saiyan 3 mode. I assume this is going to be like a fake out and a Max Steel Spike into the Alcremie.
Yeah, I would guess the same. We do see the fake out into the Gyarados, which was the Alcremie.
Oh, Max Airstream. Oh, okay, that's good.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It should do about 50% of this Gyarados. A little bit more than that, actually. But I think this Incineroar is going to be taking an awful lot of damage from this Max Quake. Probably like 65-75% here.
Did Gemma target? Oh, I thought she targeted the Cinderace. Okay, yeah. Should be a solid chunk. I mean, it's -1, but yeah, that's a lot.
And so here's the thing where you can't one-hit KO this Excadrill with any move, really. So it's just free to
Recovery Berry.
Ooh, so that's a good for game 2, knowing that it's not something like Safety Goggles or Assault Vest.
Yeah.
But this Excadrill's pretty safe to just get its weakness policy off if you target it. And go from there.
What Woke Flossie could go for, though, is another Airstream into the Gyarados, which will KO, and then Parting Shot the Excadrill. Because right now, at the moment, as long as Cinderace stays a flying type, Excadrill doesn't really have a way to hit it.
That is true. I'm not exactly something, along the lines of Quake into Incineroar as we're seeing, just to pick off that KO if possible.
Okay, it's just gonna be a hard switch though.
Ooh.
Yeah, we had the exact same reaction.
Yeah, I'm not sure how this is going to go. Maybe it's Focus Sash Tyranitar?
Maybe. I hope so.
Maybe
Gyarados is gonna protect, but I don't think it's gonna survive through the protect.
We do see the Airstream again. Maybe somehow that. Oh, we do see it survive. Maybe somehow this Tyranitar will survive and get a weakness policy off. But like, it's not looking too good.
No, it's not. I'm very scared for this Tyranitar. And let's go. Wow.
That is a very bulky Tyranitar.
It survived and like really well too.
And it's not weakness policy as we saw. I wonder what item that could be there, because you would assume it's not Focus Sash because of how little damage it took.
Yeah. It could be like AV support Tyranitar.
Yeah, we could have that. It could be Lumberry potentially. It could even be Life. Oh no, we see the Life Orb on the Cinderace.
Yeah.
So I'm very intrigued by what this could possibly be.
Gemma has not gotten any Steel Spike boost on her Excadrill, correct?
She did get one turn 1 into the to get the KO.
Okay.
So this Excadrill will survive a
survive a Fireball?
I do not know if it survives a Fireball from here.
Okay. Because I imagine that Woke Flossie would want to go for something like a Fireball and a Rock Slide this turn.
Yeah. I would assume that the Tyranitar is still slower than this Excadrill, but it could very well be faster at this point. Maybe we just don't know the calcs on -1. We see the Excadrill go for the Protect. And Gmax Fireball. Type change.
Well, it's not going to KO through the Protect, though, but this will do a solid hit and most likely put it in range of another one, regardless of intimidate. Actually, that did way less than I thought it would.
Yeah, I don't know if a Pyro Ball KOs from that range, because a Pyro Ball does only 3/4 of the amount. So if we look at how much that did it do 1/4 damage there?
No.
I don't think it did, but I'm also... it's very close.
Critical hit onto the All Creamy is nice.
Yeah, it's very close to whether or not that'll KO from the next one. But
Yeah.
really, it just depends on whether or not this... Oh, the other thing is she can just cycle Intimidate, so it definitely won't KO.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It's like going to be the -1
Yeah.
that's going to really do it in, though.
Yeah, no, this won't KO. Maybe a high jump kick will?
A high jump kick probably could. Obviously, a crit will take it out.
Mm-hmm.
But do you play expecting a crit this turn?
I don't think so. I think Gemma's best play is probably going for a high horsepower. Oh, she goes for Iron Head. The scary thing is if the Incineroar switches back in. Oh, it doesn't matter because it switches into the Cinderace spot.
Yeah, yeah.
So funnily enough, now that the Cinderace has switched out and taken away its speed boosts, this Alcremie will outspeed it with the Scarf, and be able to get free charms off into the
into the
lower
Cinderace.
So now the Cinderace will have absolutely no chance of
Mhm.
KOing the Excadrill. You see the Iron Head.
Yeah, and there's no Protect on the Tyranitar. I wonder what the item is, though. And if it's not Weakness Policy, does Woke Flossie have something else with Weakness Policy on her team?
Yeah, I wonder. I'm very intrigued by like what could possibly be Weakness Policy. But I mean, this is a very safe Protect from Excadrill, right? And
yeah,
letting the Gyarados go down, I would guess.
Yeah, no, there's no reason to like switch it in. That just kind of risky the game. You just just go for any type of damage that you can get and just protect your Excadrill.
Yeah, I mean that potentially baits out a high jump kick too, if that's like the best possible move to go for here. I assume we'll just see a Fireball or a Pyro Ball and a Fake Out.
Yeah,
that will cover everything.
You might want to preserve what your other two tech moves are on the Cinderace.
Mm-hmm. But as we can see, this game moves a lot faster than the 47.
Than the Yawn one, yeah. Ooh, bounce.
Interesting. Well, if that's the case, decorate high jump kick or decorate high horsepower into this Incineroar the next turn is going to be very free if it's nope, it does not survive.
Doesn't survive.
So now we're in a position where decorate Iron Head kind of just cleans up the game.
Yeah, the only thing that you got to be wary of is like bounce para, full para.
Yeah, and the odds of that are so low that it's like you'd have to get that and then get another one into the Urshifu.
Mm-hmm.
But at this point, like the Decorate Iron Head just should seal up the game.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't, then the Urshifu will, because the Cinderace doesn't have a protecting move, and the Iron Head will, if it doesn't KO, we'll put it in Sucker Punch range for sure.
Mm-hmm. Bounce going into the Alcremie, okay? Yeah, so then there's no way. Tragically.
Goodbye, Cinderace. You've had a good run.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then
that will be game one.
What do you think that Amy's best decision is for game two on how to like adjust to this Excadrill Alcremie?
I would say she probably wasn't expecting the Decorate. And she was just going for like whatever she could get for the first turn. Based on what you said, I wasn't aware that Fake Out and Max Airstream took care of the Alcremie pretty easily. So she could try to go for that play if she wants to. I don't remember what other mon she had on her team. I would say that she definitely wants to lead the Incineroar though.
Yeah. So the Fake Out and the Airstream only KOs if it gets the critical hit on Crit Kiss. So if this isn't Crit Kiss, then it's not worth even going for that. Unless it's like super fast Togekiss, in which case then you can just KO it the next turn. But even then, like you're taking 50% to your Togekiss.
Okay, so if that is the water type Urshifu, then Surging Strike should be able to take care of it pretty easily.
Yeah, so this Excadrill guaranteed survives Surging Strikes in Dynamax form, but it does take like 90%.
Yeah.
So
does it survive Choice Banded Surging Strikes?
I'm not sure. I could calc it, but I don't remember the spread we ended up using, so
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think it would, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Choice Banded Surging Strikes is just very strong.
Yeah, it really just kind of depends on what I'd say that the Surging Strikes from Urshifu can be very helpful in this match, and the entire Urshifu could be very helpful depending on its moveset, because if it has like close combat Thunder Punch, that hits like half the team for like potential one-hit KOs.
Mm-hmm.
Stoutland and Tyranitar.
Well,
with the glorious golden mustache.
I'm not sure if I don't know anything about Stoutland in this format.
Yeah, I know it has Intimidate and Yawn.
I know it also has Sand Rush, which I'm assuming we're going to see here.
Oh, does it have Sand Rush?
It does.
Oh my god, that's hysterical.
So we have off-brand
yeah.
Tyranitar right here. So I don't know if Stoutland can carry a Steel move, and if it can, we might just see a max Steel Spike into this Alcremie.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe something like switching into, but I don't even know if it would carry that. So is it worth even like scouting for that here? Even if it has it, does it KO? I'm not entirely sure.
I mean, like from Gemma's perspective, I would say that she's like not under a lot of pressure right now. Sword Stance seems like a solid move.
Yeah.
Like Sword Stance since like switching in Gyarados.
Yeah. The other thing is the Stoutland could just carry like a Max Quake, and it could be just Life Orb Max Quake or like Choice Band High Horsepower.
Mm-hmm.
So that'd be the one thing to be scared of, but I don't know.
Well, whatever it is, if it is Sand Rush, it did not Dynamax.
Yeah, so I don't think it'll be able to take out the unless it's, I guess, Giga Impact. Oh, is this Tyranitar Dynamaxing then?
Yeah, it is.
Interesting.
I would love to see Sand Rush Giga Impact. That would be amazing.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's what we're going to see.
Stoutland really gets Sand Rush?
Yeah. That's the one thing I know about it, actually.
Really? That's insane. Nice.
And
not nice. Oh, that's tragic.
Yeah, that was actually the main reason I decided on Alcremie, was it just beats all of the Sleep Powder and the Yawns and everything like that. So
yeah.
This Excadrill's in a really good position, it looks like.
Yeah, it just got a +1 defense. I don't even know if the Rockfall is going to KO Alcremie at this point now.
I don't think it will, honestly. Oh, and if that Quake
fake.
is into the... If that's into the X... Oh, I was going to say, if that was into the Excadrill, that would have been pretty much the end of the game.
I mean, it's still not looking great, but that definitely would have made things so much worse.
Yeah. I mean, I guess potentially she could send out Incineroar and then maybe immediately switch it out into like a Togekiss baiting out a Max Quake. Or just sending in the Togekiss in right away. But, I mean, Decorate plus Steel Spike into Togekiss is super free, because even if it switches out into Incineroar...
you can even just Decorate and Steel Spike the Tyranitar, like just force the redirection. Like, it's not going to take a +4 Steel Spike.
Yeah. You get the +2 Togekiss for about half a second before it just blows up to the Steel Spike.
Nice.
So I now at this point with the +2 defense, I don't even think this Alcremie dies to a Rockfall here.
No, I don't think it does either. This Excadrill is like in a position where it can just like run through the entire team now.
Yeah. So I mean, this was kind of the point of the team, and in its good matchups, which this seems to be a good matchup, it kind of just runs through the matchup. But its bad matchups are very, very bad.
Yeah. What are some of the bad matchups? I assume like opposing Sand Rush Excadrill.
So even that, you like never die. Plus you have a Gyarados with Intimidate, so like that's generally fine. It's more so like hard Trick Room with Torkoal. You kind of just auto lose. Your win condition is your opponent not thinking Torkoal is a good matchup. And yeah, I mean, like a Steel Spike into get the Intimidate off, and a Steel Spike into Tyranitar pretty much seals this game up.
I think that what you have to go for is like Pyro Ball crit.
I don't even think Pyro Ball
crit.
Yeah, I think Tyranitar might still die.
Yeah.
Oh, it's only a +2, so maybe not.
No, it's a +4, isn't it?
No, the second Decorate went into
went into Togekiss, that's right, yeah.
So
yeah, Pyro Ball, crit, burn, Quake into Excadrill, I think is your best option.
I'm not even sure that's enough. Like with the cycling the Intimidate here, which honestly this might be special Tyranitar. All we've seen is Quake. It might be special AV. I'm not entirely sure yet.
Did we see the high jump Rock Slide?
Oh, did we? Oh,
yeah.
we did. So
crit. No, tragic.
Oh, no. Good.
Yeah, that crit wouldn't have gotten it anyway.
Would it? No, I think it would have because
I think it would have. Yeah, I forgot about the Intimidate.
So it would do 3 times damage, or it would do way more than 3 times damage because of the 2 defense boosts and the Intimidate.
Oh yeah. So a high jump crit would have taken care of that.
Yeah, so I guess that was the play. But now at this point, like the Alcremie is going to outspeed and get a bunch of charms off. I think really the safest play is to protect your Excadrill and switch to Alcremie.
Yeah.
But at this point, it really doesn't matter. You can just Waterfall.
Yeah, no, I would say just like Waterfall high horsepower. Like Cinderace can only take care of 1 at a time.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe she wants to preserve the 4-0. But no. I mean, good job to Gemma playing this matchup well. I think that the Scarf Decorate just caught Amy off guard a little bit.
Yeah, it's not something that we see a lot of anymore. Like, I remember it being a pretty common thing when Dallas Regionals was a thing, but it's since disappeared, and I always forget about it.
Yeah, no, it could be something you see, but generally it's like not something you have to prepare for. Especially on a team like this where you don't really see like a need for the Scarf, and you would assume like nothing else is carrying the Sash. So something like a Sash Alcremie is a lot safer, but
yeah,
the Scarf kind of just, I think, threw her off at this point, which once you get that 1 step behind on either game, there's not really anything you can do.
Yeah.
And we see Excadrill, I believe, pick up its 4th KO of this game. So it had a good match. It did really, really well, and Gemma did really well piloting it. So that was a fun 4th set here out of everybody playing. Yeah,
GG's to both Wolf, Flossie, and Gemma.
They do exchange GG's in the Discord. So that was really fun to see. I enjoy seeing that team do well. And Gemma's definitely better at piloting it than I ever was using it. So
I wish I could have seen more. I was so excited for Sandra Stoutland. I did not know it got that ability.
Yeah, I wasn't really expecting it to be used in like the Slurpuff Unburdened way, where it's just a super fast yawn. But that was really cool. If only Alcremie didn't get stupid Sweet Veil or whatever that ability is.
Yeah.
So.
Hey, you like that video? We think you should check this out, and YouTube thinks you should check this one out. Be sure to subscribe for more content.